250cc four-stroke. So effectively, many of those bikes that are being used in New Zealand are ex-125 bikes with their 125 engine thrown away and the 250 four-stroke engine put on board. And you've now got this fabulous team at BSP that are making these bikes look absolutely awesome. And you'll see riders out there like Blaze Heaven, Scott Topping, who's going to join us from Australia, and Chris Malcolm out there as well. So great to see. Here we are looking to get our start underway. And oh, you see that gearing, you see that start, you see how crucial it is. And our 58, I think it was, having a bit of a struggle to try and get away with our 125 start. Oh no, maybe, sorry, Regan Phipps it wasn't there. So yeah. Regan Phipps to get away. So Regan did get the start in the end, Spider, but starts with 125 are like a lottery.
Yeah, it's interesting to see Campbell Grayling here. I thought he'd pulled out for the season with other problems, but he was last year's New Zealand 250 production champion, and I thought I read on social media this week that unfortunately with machine problems and things going on that he wasn't available, but I see on the timing screen number 58 listed there, so he's in action there. In fact, if we have a look out here on our qualifying times, Blaze Heaven, Regan Phipps, Zane Agate, Agate, back here in action on the number 93, Chris Kane, Daniel Jenkins, Jason Hearn, John Medlin, Chris Malcolm, Campbell Grayling, Brian Hardacre, Benjamin Green, Scott Toppings on the letter T, Leon Jacobs and Nicky Smith. So 14, 125 and Super Mono.
And if we have a look at this class as well, Nicky Smith, we know she's come out of Super Lights. We know Zana Gates come out of Super Lights, so that's why Super Light numbers are down, Spider. People are choosing to ride in other classes. So there we go, sign of the times.
Yeah, Nicky also spent a long time on the Kiwi Bike Insurance Pro Twin as well. So Anna's an MNZ steward, so rolls the sleeves up, and quite often you'll see her at the control room with a set of headphones on and a microphone involved with running of a meeting with the Vic Club, amongst other things. So Nicky Smith from Taranaki, good to see you back at the racetrack. I think they had a season off last year where her and a partner bought a new property and decided to step away, but of course now she's back out there and fighting Blaze Heaven on the 59 machine.
And it's a four-stroke, so there's the difference. Listen to those. And there's the four-stroke starting to dominate as well, Spider. So that's the changing. Here's the buzz of the two-strokes we know going past, but there's already the four-stroke. The world's showing us that these four-stroke engines are amazing, and it's now just a matter of seeing that kind of technology roll into New Zealand. So we've seen that the IMD bike in the past, Spider, that's been the 250, but it's not been as competitive, or it's been in a mid-packer. Now all of a sudden these 250s, we're starting to see the technology that's taken them to the front, which one can expect.
Well, Dr. Steve Bagshaw's been whittling on those for I think for 5 or 6 years, but remember at Hampton Downs last year, Regan Phipps scored pole position on that and almost took his first win. So it just shows you they were coming along, and all of a sudden now the IMD boys bring in a proper NSF 250 from overseas, and I don't say the other bike in second place there and now in third place there is not a proper, it's just the Kiwi ingenuity getting out there, and Scotty Griffiths building the frame, and it's a gorgeous looking motorcycle. Big team involved in that. Steve Bagshaw, mate, I don't know how many houses he's worth of money he's put into that sport, but he keeps on drawing them back in, and he's getting the results now finally after whittling away for so many years. What is the lap record? The lap record is way back in 2003 by Steve Ward, 138.860. Somebody said maybe Chris should have gone faster at some stage, but right now that's what we've got in front of us, and that is history there. Well, maybe we're going to get close to that. What do we have? A 138.860. The fastest qualifier, it was a 142.667. So I get the picture that the wind has taken the toll in that class here in the terms of the qualifying.
Now,
certainly the smaller bikes will be buffeted around a bit more, Neil Ritchie.
If we look back at our times here, Spider, as well, and take a note of those times, if the Steve Ward has got the fastest time, probably the second fastest time is actually Dennis Charlotte's 125, because that was in the era when Dennis Charlotte and Steve Ward were fighting for the title. In fact, didn't they alternate for about 4 years, and one of them won it twice and the other 2 years, something like that. It was amazing. We're talking here now, this is 15 years ago. So 15 years ago, and our lap records are still holding today. That's the technology of those bikes for their time, how well they were going and how they performed, but also the intensity of the two little jockeys as they were, Steve and Dennis. And Dennis at that stage, of course, well, he was a few kilos lighter than what he is today, but probably Steve about the same weight. Still, I always enjoy a conversation with him because I can look down. You see anybody like that, Spider, you always got to enjoy a conversation, because 99 out of the other 100 the other way around. But irrespective of my stature, Steve used his to an advantage and literally was that word, a jockey. And his lap record at 2003 may never be eclipsed. The other feature too, Spider, is considering now that these are effectively a Moto 3 bike, and is it actually time to acknowledge that there is a time for the 250cc single in this class as well, and maybe because that's where the future will lie.
Well, possibly, but at the end of the day, there's still 125s out there competing, and they're the fastest around there so far. So far early in the season, like I say, the wind might change, but why? What a massive race there for second, third, and fourth. We've got Blaze Heaven out in the front there, but a 30, what is it, 0.5 of a second separating Zane Agat and Reagan Phibbs there as they went across the start-finish line. And the number 6 last year in the championship, Chris Kane there, is circulating around there in 4th place, and he's only 0.1 of a second or so away from them. They're coming onto the front straight, and that 4-stroke 83, the IMD machine, has had a bit of a break, 4-stroke versus 2-stroke. Not even enough time or enough distance there for the bikes in behind to do any sort of slipstreaming. I'll tell you what, I think Chris Kane there in 4th place is starting to reel in 3rd. More than 3rd is dropping away from 4th. Definitely as they come out of their Flexo Plus corner, that gap is closing up. This is the gap between 3rd and 4th, between Zane Agate and Chris Kane there. Chris Kane riding the bike, the red bike there. You'll see them going into the hairpin at the moment. The IMD bike there in 2nd. Blaze Heaven is already through the Fulton Hogan corner, but the battle is on there for the money on the podium. 3rd and 4th place at the moment, I see.
So there we go, Blaze Heaven, and when you put into the fact that Spider's been talking about the NSF 250R, this fantastic Honda machine, this is what we've been seeing used around the world, and when you've got a machine like that turning up in New Zealand, well, it's just a matter of who's the pilot going to queue up and take a seat on that machine, because it's world-class machinery being launched here in New Zealand, and it's showing so much the superior performing motorcycle, so really is taken away. A bit like we've seen in 125s with some of our young men like Anthony Gunther and others that we've had over from Australia, the 14 and 15-year-olds, the little jockeys that we've had. Speaking about 14-year-olds, Spider, Randy Mamola coming to round number 3 at Hampton Downs to incorporate an event called Moto Fest, which is rocking on the first week of March up there. And of course, all the talk was that he was only 14 years of age when he came to New Zealand. That's what the 14-year-old story brings true for us, Spider.
That was legend for many years, and I thought, I'm hearing this round the pits and all that, but I actually checked up his birthday and he was 15 and about the 27th or thereabouts of November, so he was 15 when he raced here. And Paul Tracy, one of the main organisers of that meeting, he was born on the same day.
Oh, there you go.
No, I remember for many years they were talking about 14, but they lied on this thing. But what it was, when he entered the Marlborough Series from America, he was 14. But when he got here, he was actually 15. So that's an urban myth, comes real fact for a while, but it has been disclaimed. But yeah, good memory there, Neil Ritchie and Randy Mamola. There was an article in Road Racer World about 3 years ago. He was the man that should have won a world championship, had 2nd place in the World Grand Prix for so many years. But there was an article in the Road Racer magazine, and they says, what gave you the break in motorcycle racing is the cemetery circuit. The cemetery circuit, going in there, railway lines and that. When he came out here when he was 15 years old, that was what made him know that he could cut it with the real world and get out there. Blaze Heaven comes into the Southern Salvage corner on that beautifully presented 250 machine, the NSF Honda 250 machine. Still that battle going on there for 2nd, 3rd and 4th. The 4-stroke 83 Reagan Phibbs, followed by Zane Agate, I think, still in 3rd place with Chris Kane. I mentioned before that Zane Agate had been slowing down there possibly, and Chris Kane moving up. Well, it's gone the other way around now. Now Zane is coming out of the dipper there and is right on the tail, maybe 3 bike lengths behind. There's nothing in it between the drive out of these corners between the 2 and the 4-stroke. Such small machines, such small boys on it. Men, I should say, shouldn't I?
Yeah, well, some of them are probably young enough to be your son as well, Spider, but that's another story. We're not going there today. As we check out, of course, a reminder, everybody, this will incorporate the Warren Guy Memorial tomorrow, which is a fantastic trophy in recognition of Warren, one of, well, it was a Canterbury legend and stalwart, unfortunately taken from us far too young through illness, and he's long remembered in the Warren Guy Memorial as well. So looking forward to seeing that raced with the 125 GP in the GP, our New Zealand Road Racing Grand Prix here tomorrow, New Zealand excellent time. So great to see our racing for the 125s. Looking out for this young man, Scott Topping, as well. Spider, part of the BSP team. He's courtesy of Motul, RST, AGV, Nationwide, the home of Pirelli, Henshaw Signs, Bike Vault, Motormart Wellington, Web Fox, and Talent Connect. And here's a young man who's certainly going to make things happen, because he's just pushed his way. If we can get an idea of times, I would say he's shown a millisecond, a millimetre improvement every time he's been out on the racetrack. So nice to see our Australian visitors learning to perform here as well. And Chris Kane back as well. A good one for Canterbury also, for the fact that he'd been gone from the Canterbury region for some time, and we now see Chris coming back here. So look for him to perform as well. But also to Matt Reichenbach. And Mac's been a hot shot in small bike racing in the country. He's come. So a 125 class Spider, don't let anybody say it's disappearing, because it's back. This has got to be the strongest field we've seen in 5-6 more years.
Oh yeah, definitely. You know, they've got quite a bit of a group going on there, and they manage things amongst themselves. So we need more bikes out of the woodwork, and of course some of these bikes are actually competitive in the Formula 3 in the Post Classics. Okay, let's go through the list of results as of the last lap. Blaze Heaven has gone through. It was Reagan Phibbs, Zane Agate, Chris Kane, Daniel Jenkins on 16, Jason Hearn, John Medlin from Lower Hutt there. Did a couple of rounds last year on the X, I think, Rogan Chandler machine. Rogan won the New Zealand Championship class on. So it was John Medlin there in 7th place, Chris Malcolm, Campbell Grayling, Scott Toppin, Brian Hardacre, Leon Jacobs, Nicky Smith and Benjamin Green there. Right now lap times are 39.8. Well, that's impressive. Blaze is just getting faster and faster. Quite a few. We saw the Superbikes, they slowed about nearly a second over the time of the race, you know, and that's quite often the case, but just getting faster and faster.
Spider, one of the things I'd like to do is to put a split time on going into the dipper at the end of the S's, and so you've effectively got a full S that's going to a left, right, and coming out of it, where the blue and white lines finish at that point. By the time the 125s have gone from there to there, compare that to a super bike. To watch that little bike that literally through the dipper and the G-force that's going around and through there, would that be close to an identical time with a super bike from that point to point?
Yes, and one thing we have done, and we might try and do it this time, is a lot of them have got onboard telemetry. We can get a printout. I think, was it Craig Sheriff used to say there's something like 28 or 30 different readings you can get off that telemetry. It tells you corner speed, almost G-force. Look at that battle going on for second and third. That's hotted up again. That is Zane Agate there. The white flag is coming out. It is coming out, but that's going into the dipper at the moment. Still Reagan Phibbs in there. Where's Chris Kane? Chris Kane's back about 200, 300 metres. He was on the case almost before the Zane Agate. There is Reagan Phibbs on the BSP machine going through there, but this battle for second place is coming onto the front straight. The Rock FM corner comes round there, the Avon City Ford corner, it's 2-stroke there, there's 4-stroke. So anyway, back to that telemetry. We'll see if we can get some printout, because it's interesting to see where they change gear, the maximum speed, and also the apex corner speed. As I say, there's about 30 different options you can get off. How do you ride a superbike when you've got all that information, as well as what you feel out on the track, Neil Ritchie?
Well, it's the fact that you've got a big superbike and a tight part of the track like that. You've got a 125 and a part of the track. That must be such an adrenaline buzz to go round through that dipper on a tiny little 125, because you literally can throw the bike into there and go through the corner. Must be that, you know, a 125 along the straight. Yeah, they're going fast enough, don't get me wrong, but through tight parts of the track like that, that's what 125s were made for.
Yeah, they definitely have the corner speed, and I do remember on the telemetry sheets I had, the 125s were certainly quicker than the superbikes, but it's going in and coming out of them and all that sort of thing. Right, where is that lead? The white flag is out, sorry, the white lap, the white flag. That signifies the last lap of the racing there. We've got Blaze Heaven must be going through there. Yeah, looking out for second and third to confirm it. There's that Blaze Heaven coming through the dipper there. Yes, the BSP Bike Sports Promotions, I think that stands for.
Yes.
So he's got the race sorted. He's just going to get round a couple more corners there, but let's look out for that second place. Reagan Phibbs gets past. Wow, around the outside. Reagan Phibbs gets past by Zane Agate coming out of that classic Southern Salvage corner there, but Phibbs just takes him back just like he wasn't even there. They're coming out of the dipper. Blaze Heaven, his first win in the New Zealand 125 championship class, still called the Championship 125 Championship. Had to check that as well with the 4 strokes in there. They're coming onto the front straight for second and third. This is the minor money, the podium. 20 points for second, 16 points for third. It is indeed another second there for the IMD team. great work, Steve Bagshaw, mate. You've done so well over the years to get that bike doing it, but Zayna Gate goes through there in third place. Now, who was the quickest of those two boys? Reagan Phibbs, a 142.4, a 142.5, so 0.1 of a second. There goes Chris Kane there on a 142.5, so he was competitive for those three bikes, all within 0.1 of a second somewhere during the race. Daniel Jenkins on the 16 machine goes through there in fifth place. We're looking out for Jason Hearn. He'll be number 11 coming through there. Indeed, John Medlin pips him at the line, or before the line there, so John Medlin in sixth place. Then it was Chris Malcolm. Where is Jason Hearn? Jason Hearn dropping off the leaderboard there, 58, Campbell Grayling. So Jason Hearn missing in action sometime out there. In fact, is that someone coming into the hairpin there?
I'm just looking as well here, Spider, at Team Aspire. We've seen Team Aspire at Parson. This has been one of the classic courses they've done, but Campbell Grayling he hasn't been part of Team Aspire from my memory before, so therefore I think that Campbell has had bike problems, but he's taken a Team Aspire ride. And just for excusing me, I should be embarrassed to say it, but just forgotten their number one rider on Team Aspire, who's not in the program now, but Campbell's got that right.
Aaron Lambourne. Aaron Lambourne's here as well.
Aaron, Team Aspire.